Hey everyone, Andrew Kircher here with Port Huron Museums. I realized I made it all the way to Sunday and I don't think I had done a live video this week. I've been trying to commit to do at least one live video every single week. We like to share those on Mondays in our email list. If you're not signed up for that, you should definitely sign up. But I guess I kind of wanted to do a follow-up to something that I have talked a little bit about before, doing work on a house, my old house. So as many of you know, I've been painting my house this summer, one of the historic homes, dates to the late 1880s, the Frank D. Jenks house. We've got some paint up on the front. There's even more to go up on the gables. And yesterday, when it was nice and beautiful, spent the entire day painting, I guess not painting, but priming this entire side of the house. So that's a whole lot of priming to do today. If you haven't been outside, it's pretty damp. And unfortunately, you know, this is an oil-based primer. Oil and water, something don't mix, as the saying goes. And you can see there are some spots, you know, that have been kind of intentionally left blank. Those are boards that need to be replaced and repaired. We've been grabbing some of those and basically filling them in kind of as needed. I'll show you some on the other side. But if you read the title of the video today, it's Plaster and Lath. And that is something I just wanted to talk briefly about, because if anybody here has an old home, anything older than like the 1930s usually, you're probably going to have plaster and lath in your house. And so it's worth talking a little bit about that. You know, what is that? How does it work? You know, maybe these are words you've heard before. You can see on this side, you know, for example, those two unpainted boards, those are brand new wood that we've inserted in. But as you can also maybe see, we had a little bit of kind of a house cancer, I suppose, is the equivalent to it. We had some pretty nasty rot up here. I'm working with my very nearly future father-in-law, Tom, who's a contractor. So we're doing some work to frame in this little patch we need to make. But as we've been cutting out the wood that has been rotted by beetles, as we suppose, I grabbed a little piece here of some of this plaster and lath to show you guys how that works. So this is basically the back side of your wall. You know, a good plaster wall, you might not even be able to tell from drywall. Works very functionally the same. But the way it works, and I think we can see some up in here. I'm going to zoom way in. So we're looking at the back side of the wall in there. And we can see those kind of thin white lines that kind of have like a goo over the back of these wooden strips. And you can see where some of them are cut out. That's just pure plaster. And that's basically, that plaster is going to guaranteed to fail, because it doesn't have the lath supporting it. The way it works, let me zoom back out here. The way it works is when the plaster is still wet, it forms these little keys. So you gob on this wet plaster, it gets jabbed between, and if you look sideways here, kind of oozes out between the pieces of lath. And then when it hardens, you know, you'd have a lot more plaster on the inside here, and that's going to be your finished wall. So that's just kind of a, you know, I think maybe people have heard plaster and lath, they haven't seen it. Maybe they haven't seen that episode of This Old House. It's something that almost every house has. So that's what we're working on a day where it's too rainy to keep priming on the house. But yeah, it's dirty work. We're probably going to have to put in some new 2x4s, a little bit more modern construction material. I'm hoping that plaster will last long enough. Might have to replace that with maybe a little piece of like gypsum board or drywall, something like that. Most of my house has the original plaster, which is pretty cool. A lot of homes, it will last. If that lath doesn't break, the keys don't break off, it will last for years and years and decades, and you know, centuries plus. There's even some plaster, you probably heard of horsehair plaster, where they used actually horsehair mixed in with the plaster to give it an extra bit of strength. So those are just some of the cool things One of those old building materials that we still work with a lot today, and anyone in the historic preservation world is familiar with. I see some of you are already commenting that there's still a lot of lath and plaster. I know that my grandfather talks when he was a young kid. He built just about everything out of lath. It was his version of Legos, because he'd go to the hardware store and buy a bundle of it, for like a dime or something like that, and you could tack it all together, and it's kind of like Legos. It's real thin little wood strips. So anyway, I think this counts as my video for the week. As you might imagine, with the amount of work that I've been doing at home, boy, I'm a busy person. I am very tired, do a whole lot of work at home in addition to what you see at the office. But I figured I owe it to you guys. We've checked in on kind of this project before. I love sharing other people's projects, so if you have a historic home you're working on, you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing. I know Tyler, who's commenting, invited us over to his place to see what that was like. I'd love to still do that and cover that. I think that's fun. I'm glad to see so many projects are going this summer, which is pretty cool to see. So yeah, you can even do historic preservation on a rainy Sunday like this. But that's kind of what I got for you for some of our historical content today. We'll remind you, there's lots of museum programming coming up in the near future. We've got on the 19th of July, I just was messaging a woman about this morning, we have another Margarita Monday. So we make the margaritas. It's on a Monday. It's at the Lighthouse. You make a really cool beach project. This one is going to be this really cool beach sign. It's got like a wave, an actual sand from a Lake Huron beach. How cool is that? That should be going live tomorrow morning. You'll be able to get your tickets. There's plenty of events that are already up, like yoga at the Lighthouse. That should be a really fun event in the near future. And we've got another couple of our painting programs, Painting with a Pro. So check those out on our Facebook page or on Eventbrite. Sign up for the email list, and we hope to see you at some of those events, and hopefully everybody can enjoy some of those cool things we've got coming up this summer still. So if you have any questions or you want to talk about your house or something, shoot me a message. Even though I'm a busy man, I always got my phone on me. I always check that out. Get those handy buzzes when something happens from the museum page. I get that over my way. So until next time, in this case, maybe don't enjoy the history in your own backyard, but fix and preserve the history here in your own backyard. I guess preservation's fun. I like it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it, because man, it is it's not easy. It's a lot of work. So all right, we'll catch you on the flip side. Take care.